All right, so we're going to talk about how to solve one-step equations. Ideally, we should have gotten through solving multi-steps, but at least now we're going to get a preview of solving one-step equations. So when we solve one-step equations, the first thing you need to do is you need to identify the operation between the variable and the number. And you'll see that when we go look at an example. After you've done that, so again, our goal is to get the variable by itself. So after we've identified, okay, it's either adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing between that, we will perform the inverse. Inverse just means opposite. We will perform the inverse or opposite operation to get variable by itself. Sorry, I hit the light. I'm trying to see what would be the best lighting situation here. Doesn't look like we're doing really good with any type of lighting situation. So like that, I think looks weird, but I don't know. So we've done that. We then check to make sure variable is by itself on one side of the equal sign. We're going to be dealing with mainly the variable on the left side, but you can have the variable on the right. You can have it, it could be right, left. The whole goal is to get the variable by itself. And then last thing, you can plug in value to variable to check. So that's one cool thing about solving equations. You can check your own answer. You can literally say, check for yourself, did I do this correctly? All right, so let's do some examples here. So let's look at example 1. Example 1 is x plus 2 equals 5. So first we need to identify the operation between the variable and the number. Well, our variable is x, the number is 2. The operation between them is addition. So there's adding between them. Next, we perform the inverse or opposite operation. So since we have x plus 2, the opposite or inverse of addition is subtraction. So we're going to subtract 2. And what you do to one side, so since I subtracted 2 from the left, I have to subtract 2 from the right as well. 2 minus 2 is 0, so they go away. And 5 minus 2 is 3. And then I'm left with just the variable, so x equals 3. I showed my operation. You need to make sure you show your operation here. I got done and I circled my answer. I know that x has to equal 3. That is the only value I can plug back into here to make this statement true. So that's where it says plug in value to check. So I'm going to take this 3, plug it back into the x. So we're going to have 3 plus 2. And 3 plus 2 is 5, and that's what it says it should be. So 5 equals 5, and on planet Earth, 5 always equals 5. Okay, again, I said planet Earth because I don't know what it is on other planets. Who knows? But right now we're on planet Earth, and on planet Earth, 5 is 5. All right, cool. Let's do another example. Example 2. X minus 3 equals 7. So figure out what is the operation between the variable and the number. Well, the operation is subtraction. So I need to perform the inverse operation. Well, the inverse of subtraction, or the opposite of subtraction, we're going to add. And we're going to add 3. And if I add 3 to the left, I have to add 3 to the right. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. 7 plus 3 is 10. And I'm just left with x. So x equals 10. I circle my answer because I'm identifying that x has to equal 10. If I plug 10 back in for x, 10 minus 3, 10 take away 3 is 7, and 7 equals 7, so we did it correctly. That's how you can check to see if you did it correctly. Next, let's look at example 3. Example 3, we have 6y equals 30. Okay, oh, can't even see it. All right, so example 3, 6y equals 30. Identify the operation between the variable and the number. When we see a number next to a variable, see how there's nothing between them? That means multiplication. So a number next to a variable means multiplication. So then we need to perform the inverse, or opposite. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide by 6. And since I divided by 6 on the left, I have to divide by 6 on the right. 6 divided by 6 is 1, so they're going to go away. 30 divided by 6 is 5. So then I'm left with y equals 5. So that works? I can plug the 5 back in for y. 6 times 5, 6 times 5 is 30. 30 equals 30 on planet Earth. We're good. All right. Let's do another example. Let's do example 4. And we're going to do this one. A over 5 equals 10. Well, if we remember, all a fraction bar means is division. So this is saying A divided by 5 has to equal 10. So I've identified the operation between the variable and the number is division. So now I need to perform the inverse, or opposite of division. Well, the opposite of division is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply the left by 5, and I'm going to multiply the right by 5. These 5s go away. And then I'm left with A on this side, and 10 times 5. 10 times 5 is 50. So then A equals 50. I can plug 50 back in. 50 divided by 5 will give me 10. So this is solving one-step equations. Identify the operation between the variable and the number, perform the inverse operation, and do that to both sides, and then just do the math. That's it. Make sure you circle your final answer so that you can identify, and also make sure you're showing your work like I did here. See how every time I showed what I did to get the variable by itself? That's what you need to do. All right? All right. Now you can do your practice stuff tomorrow.